Hello everyone, I'm Jay, your host at the Everything Cloud platform. Welcome to this session on GCE Automation. We did a lot in the last few videos. We hosted our Apache web server on a Linux Debian OS machine in GCE. We set up monitoring ops agent. We installed and configured Grafana to set up our fundamental observability. Everything we did so far was via GCP console. That is manual. That's not the right way of doing things in production. We are platform engineers, we are SREs, and we hate toil. Everything you do manual is toil. So let's find a way to automate all of this. Let's go. Here are the steps we are going to follow in this session today. We'll export GCP native golden signals dashboards as JSON. We'll export the Grafana golden signals dashboard as JSON. We'll build a startup script with all the installation steps that we followed by SSHing into our VM, like we installed the monitoring ops agent, we installed Apache web server, we installed Grafana. We'll do all of that via a startup script. We'll create the VM using gcloud from a bash script rather than creating from the GCP console. We'll build the golden signals dashboards from the JSON file. Before we start doing anything, let's just validate that our server is up and running, everything is running fine. So I'll navigate to compute VM instances. VM Debian is our original server that has the Apache web server running and that has Grafana as well hosted. That's up and running, everything looks fine. This is our web server that runs fine. GCE golden signals dashboard, that is fine as well, up and running. Grafana is running. We take a quick peek at the monitoring dashboard. That's coming up fine too. We'll bring up our golden signals dashboard from the previous session. So all of this is fine. Now you must have noticed this VM Debian Auto. Now that's the one that I created as I was prepping for this session. But we'll do in this video we'll create a VM Debian Auto demo here, which will be identical to this. But note that this was this is sitting out there with the same installation, Apache as well as Grafana server running. But that Grafana running on this machine is not used anywhere. The Grafana running on this is what you are seeing here. So this is the existing setup. Also note that our production tests are running as they have been running in the last few videos. This is still hitting our original VM Debian for the successful request on the left. You see this guy changing, and you are still seeing some errors getting induced right from when we started. And in this window, in the blue and red, this is the traffic to the VM Debian Auto machine. That's what you are seeing induced on that one, successful request, and on the right side you have the failures. And if you take a quick look at the Grafana dashboard, you will actually see that you are seeing two traffic lines there. One is yellow, the other one is green. The one of them is for VM Debian, the original server that we have, and the other one is for VM Debian Auto. And as we move forward with our automation today, we'll see one more line coming up. We'll start inducing load to that as well, and we'll bring down. What we'll do is we'll bring down the load we'll change this setup to stop the load going to the VM Debian Auto, and we'll start inducing load to VM Debian Auto demo that we create in this session. We'll now export both of our golden dashboards, both GCP native as well as the Grafana dashboards, exported as JSON formats and saved with us. And the way you do that is this. So this is our golden signals dashboard. If I hit settings here, and if I hit JSON, you can copy this entire JSON, or just take, I can copy right using that command. Or if you take a quick look at the JSON editor, this is the JSON, and I've saved all of this already in a GC, GitHub repository that is available to you. This is a public repo for everything we have done in platform engineering bootcamp so far. In the observability, you see this GCE Golden Signals GCP. That's the JSON that we just downloaded. So this is available right here. And now let's go ahead and export the Grafana Golden Signals dashboard. If I do a share dashboard from here and do an export, save to file. If I do a save to file from here, that's what you see as saved. And this file I have already made available again in the GCE Golden Signals Grafana.json. This is the JSON that we will use eventually to export or build a dashboard. Use of startup scripts on Linux VMs in GCE is very popular. This is a very powerful feature. But basically, this is used. This is a bash script file that performs all the startup tasks when you bring up a VM. So if you think about everything that we did by SSHing into our VMs when we were building our VM, remember all the steps that we took. We installed the Apache web server. We installed the Google Ops monitoring agent. We installed Grafana, right? We did all, and we made some changes to the configuration files. All of that, and also when we were configuring the web server, the Apache web server, we changed the HTML, the index.html to customize and make our own, right? We changed the default page to from the default Apache page to this. We added the script as well. We did all of that by SSHing into the VM after the VM was up. But what if we want to just do all of that in an automated fashion? We want our VM to come up, and we want as it comes up, it does everything that we did by SSHing into that. And that's where startup scripts come in handy. Take a quick look at how we built our startup script. This is the starter script I'm talking about. So if I make this a little bigger, and now if you start looking at the steps in it, the Google Monitoring Ops Agent installation, right? This is running through all the instructions from that page, and it is installing the Google Monitoring Ops Agent. As you move forward, this is where we remember we ran this command to modify the Google Cloud Ops Agent configuration file. This is included in the startup script. Then we went forward and we restarted the monitoring ops agent. Then the steps are now following to install the Apache web server here with all the commands. Look at all the commands: apt-get install Apache 2, and then look at this. We are seeding into the HTML folder, and now we will start modifying the index.html. I've already made the now these two commands. You will need to understand what these commands are doing. I have included, now before I move forward, we'll come back to the line 92 here once again. Note that all the web server app configuration code I have included in this web server app folder. So this is the index.html that we have, right? This is the index.html, our customized index.html. And this is the script.js that is powering that random number generator, right? So and this is the update index HTML script, bash script, that actually after you copy the index.html in the in that folder, this is the script that runs and changes the host name to actual host name, replaces the IP address with the actual IP address, and so on and so forth. This code you will need to make available in your in one of your buckets, because that's what our startup script is going to do. Now I'll come back to the startup script, scroll down to 92 where we were, You're navigating into the var html folder, and in here you're copying all the configuration files, all the config files that I just talked about, the script.js, the update html, bash script, the index.html, and so on and so forth. All of these files you're copying in here. Then what you're doing is you are providing the execute permissions to the update index.html script. Then you are executing the update index.html. That's where your index.html gets updated with the actual IP address, actual VM name, and so on and so forth. You then move forward to do your Grafana installation. You run through all the steps. So this is how you follow through all the startup script. Now I'll point out a couple of things, a couple of best practices I have included in this startup script. Notice this systemd cat -t startup script -p5. That's an important one. This basically is going to be feeding into the journal.ctl. Remember the journal.ctl command that we have been seeing. You will see all of these, every echo statement that we have included with a pipe into systemd cat. This is actually logging into the journal.ctl. These are entries that we will see in journal.ctl, and these are for our troubleshooting purposes. What if a particular step fails? You will be able to get back to journal.ctl and look for this. Now this -t startup script, that has a specific purpose as well. This will include this startup script tag with every echo statement that we include in the journal.ctl, and we'll be able to look at and filter those entries using this tag. Very important, and we'll touch upon this in once we run our startup script. We're now getting ready to run our bash script to create the VM, and this is what that script looks like. If you take a look at the steps in here, it's loading this config file, and I'll show you what that config file is. It's setting some variables, and then eventually it's running a gcloud compute instance command, and it's using the startup script that we just walked through. Now at this point, let me get into my VS Code and look at this config file right here. That's our project ID, that's the zone, that's the machine type, that are scopes. All the variables that are used in your bash script are defined here, and you are just loading all the variables in here. Now I'll change this VM name to say demo, right? Remember, we already have if you look at here, I just ran this gcloud compute instances list. This is our original server. This is VM Debian Auto that is already existing, because when I was building this automation, I tested this using this. We'll create one more VM Debian Auto demo, and that's why we are changing the name. I'll save this so that this change takes effect. And this is our startup script name variable, that variable, and you will see that this variable is called here. So this basically uses all the variables from here and then runs this gcloud command with all of these variables. You see this VM name substitution, that VM name basically is this VM name which is coming from here, right? And that's how this is working. Now I'll go ahead and submit this startup script. I just ran this, and if you just let it create, it'll take a few seconds here. There you go, our VM is created. If I do a gcloud compute instances list, you see that our VM is created, already running, up and running. And we'll now at this point get into GSSH VM Debian Auto demo. Now this shows you everything that happens from the startup scripts. You will be able to see what's happening. You see this? Now the startup script is running. The VM is up. You will see that the VM is up. If you refresh this page, yeah, the VM is up and running. Auto demo, that has come up, that has a new external IP, and that's what we will hit as we test this. But take a quick peek at what's happening with the startup script. The steps that we have built in startup script are running here, and I'll keep this here on the screen so that you can see what's happening. You'll see this Grafana. Yeah, that's coming up. That's the step that is currently running, and I'll show you some more stats, but just keep following. The startup script just completed. Now if you want to see journal CTL, you can actually get into journal CTL and look at all the entries in here, and you can just scroll back further to see everything that got logged. But I want to do a very specific thing in here. I will point you to take a quick look, closer look at how we built our startup script, and I'll point to a specific thing. Remember I talked about these systemd messages. See that with every step we are posting messages in the startup script with this tag, and you should be able to look at the journal CTL for all the entries with this tag. Now that's what we are going to see here. If I do a command like this -t startup script, this is going to pull all the entries with that tag, and that gives us a very good information around everything that we did from the startup script. We installed the monitoring ops agent, that completed successfully. We configured, completed successfully. Restarted, completed successfully. Then we started with our Apache web server installation. All the steps we followed, it's showing us completed successfully. Grafana installation 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and there are more steps. Okay, so one of these steps in here failed, but this was just listing of the available packages, so I don't think that has impacted anything, because I see the Grafana installed successfully. We started the service and all of this, and we'll test our services now. Let's go about validating our services. So we ran two services, right? We are running Apache web server and we are running the Grafana server. So on the right hand side we are in our server, and on the left hand side is my laptop. So let's do our validations from within the server. So if I do a systemctl status Apache 2, that is our service. That's active, running, good. Similarly, I'll do a Grafana server, right? That should give me active as well. So we're good. Our services are running. We'll do a couple of more validations. What if I hit curl localhost? That gives us our index.html as we expected, right? That's our internal IP of our new web server that we just brought up. That runs fine. What if I do a curl localhost port 3000? That should bring up, that should give me this /login URL, and that's what we expected. So good, our servers are running as expected. Let's test these from outside of GCP environment as well, meaning from my laptop. So what we'll do is gcloud compute instances list. We'll need the external IP. That's our VM Debian auto demo, and this is our external IP. What if I curl this? That gives me my the index.html, the web page, and that's the internal IP, which is this guy, right? That's what we are getting. So good response there. Then now we will do a curl this port 3000. That gives me the /login, that tells me everything is fine. We'll do this same validation from the browser as well. If I get to the browser here and use that brings up my web page. Notice that this is 42.0.9. This is our original server. Notice that this is 142.0.5. That one is 0.9, right? This is the new one that we brought up. What if I bring up Grafana? Will this come up? Yeah, That's the new instance. See that this is asking for username, password, those initial steps. This is our new Grafana server that we just set up on the new machine. But that's not what we are going to be using. We'll still continue using the same Grafana on the original machine. Let's now start inducing some load on the newly created server, the Apache web server that we had. This black and red is our original VM Debian server, so we are not touching this. Let the load continue on that. This blue and red is the load to the server that I created before I started recording this session. So what we'll do is we'll stop this guy. We'll stop both of this. What we'll do instead is gcloud compute instances list, and we'll induce the load. Notice that this is 0.8. Our new server is 0.9. So right, this 0.8 is this VM Debian Auto that I created before. We want to start inducing load to this guy, which is 0.9. What if I just do a quick test? Right, that is my 0.9. So I want to now induce load to this guy, and I do that in my while loop. What I'll do is, that's my IP, and I want to change this configuration to have 10 in there. Now this starts my hit to this server in a repeated fashion. You see the response from 0.9? Yeah, so that started. Now let's do this, and on this side we'll induce some errors, right? That's what we want to do. So on this one I'll just change this. All right, so we have started inducing some load to our newly created server, and that's what we'll see some of this information in the dashboards. What we expect to see is, if I navigate to the Grafana dashboard, if you notice that there are two lines running here. One of them is our original server, the VM Debian. The other line is for, say, VM Debian Auto. We'll see that VM Debian Auto coming down, and we'll see our VM Debian Auto demo, the one that we created in this demo, picking up traffic. We're now ready to set up or build our dashboards from the JSONs we exported at the start of the video. This is our existing dashboard, which is called, notice that it's called Golden Signals. This is the GCP native one, and this is the Grafana dashboard that's called GCE Golden Signals. Let's get back to the JSONs that we downloaded. In the left hand side, you're seeing the GCE Golden Signals GCP. This is the GCP native dashboard, and on the right hand side you have the Grafana JSON. To make some differentiation, what we'll do is we'll change this Golden Signals name. Right, let me see if that shows up anywhere else. No, so we'll change this name to say, to add a capital letters like demo in here, and here as well let's find wherever that name is that's sitting in the end. What we'll do is we'll add a demo. These are the two JSONs that we will now export or use to build the GCP native and Grafana dashboard respectively. To create a new GCP native dashboard, we'll do a create dashboard from here, and instead of building widgets, we want to use our JSON, right? So what we'll do is we'll do a JSON editor, and at this point we go to our GCE Golden Signals. That's our JSON file. We just paste this entire thing in here, and we apply the changes. Boom, there you go. We have our dashboard ready. See this Golden Signals demo? Yeah, we just added a new dashboard from our JSON file. We'll do the same thing for building a new dashboard in Grafana. We'll go to dashboards. We'll say new, and we will import this, and we'll upload the dashboard JSON file directly in here. I'll just navigate to this. Yep, that's my file. I say open, and yeah, this is duplicates. Grafana won't allow that, so we'll say a new ID, and that's our data source. We just say import, and boom, our dashboard is up and running. Before we do the recap and close the session out, take a quick peek at our Grafana Golden Signals dashboard. On this one in particular, the green line is our original VM Debian server. That continues as is, right? We haven't stopped the load on that one. That just continues. The yellow line was the VM Debian demo server that I built before the session started, right? That's what we killed during the session, right? We killed load on that during the session. The blue line is the new VM that we created during the session, and we started inducing load on that one during the session. That's what started to pick up right from within the session. That's the blue line. Just wanted you to see that all the stats are appropriately reflecting on the dashboards that we just created. Time for recap. We exported GCP native Golden Signals dashboard as a JSON file. We exported the Grafana Golden Signals dashboard as a JSON file. We then built our startup script with all installation steps, all the three: monitoring, ops agent, Apache web server, Grafana. We created VM using a gcloud command from a bash script rather than creating it from the console. And then we finally built the Golden Signals dashboard from the JSON files. Well, that brings us to the end of this video on GCE automation. While everything we saw is a very good way of automating toil, this is not ideal for provisioning your infrastructure in production systems. For that purpose, you would use IAC, infrastructure as code, using Terraform or KCC if you are in Kubernetes environment. For GCE, running the GCE production systems with reliability and in the right way of provisioning infrastructure using UAC. If you want to get in depth in that, I talked about my Udemy course that's already available out there. Just go to udemy.com, search for GCE reliability. You'll come across my course. Go through that if you want to really see the right way of doing things in production. What we saw is also very useful, not necessarily for provisioning infrastructure, but a very good way of automating things for doing your day-to-day job as a platform engineer or SRE or DevOps engineer. If you like the content, please do subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications when new videos are posted. If you're genuinely interested in learning all the foundational skills we have been looking at on Everything Cloud platform, stick around and follow along all the videos that are posted. I'm sure you had a wonderful time, and I'll see you in the next session.